Hello everyone. From chapter number 1, Rotational Dynamics. Today we have to start article centripetal force. In 11th standard also you already learned what is centripetal force. Now let me revise it quickly. Centripetal force basically is a force which acts along the radius and toward the center of the circle, and which keeps the particle moving along circular path is called as centripetal force. It means that this force keeps the particle moving along the circular path, and this is necessary force. It is acting along the radius and toward the center of the circle. The formula of the centripetal force is given by formula mass multiplied by centripetal acceleration. You can see here the formula mass multiplied by centripetal acceleration. AR is the centripetal acceleration, or it is also called as radial acceleration. The formula of the radial acceleration we already learned. Radial acceleration is given by formula v square by r omega square and v omega. So by substituting this radial acceleration, we get centripetal force is equal to mv square by r, mr omega square, and mv omega. These are the formulas of centripetal force. After formula, let's see some examples of centripetal force. We can discuss many examples, but few examples we are discussing here. The first example is for circular motion of electron. Everybody know that electrons are revolving in a circular manner around the nucleus, and for that circular motion of electron around the nucleus, centripetal force is provided by, or centripetal force is the force of attraction between positively charged nucleus and negatively charged electron. For circular motion of electron, centripetal force is given by the force between nucleus and electron, and that force is the electrostatic force. Means electrostatic force is acting as a centripetal force in case of motion of electron. Now second example, for circular motion of object tied to string, for circular motion of object tied to string and revolved in a horizontal circle, centripetal force is the tension produced in the string. Centripetal force is tension produced in the string. So we already discussed centripetal force is a necessary force. So without tension in a string, you cannot imagine the circular motion of stone tied by a string. So necessary force is tension in case of motion of stone. So that necessary force is acting as a centripetal force. Now next example. For a car traveling around the circular horizontal road with some uniform speed, centripetal force for negotiating the curve is provided by the force of friction between tire of vehicle and road. You know that necessary force in that case is the centripetal force. You cannot consider a motion of vehicle if the friction is zero. If no friction on the curve, then it's very difficult for car to negotiate the curve. So in that case, we can say that centripetal force is provided by the force of friction. I hope you understood these examples of the centripetal force. Similar manner, we can write or we can discuss one more example. Motion of moon around the earth is a circular motion. In that case, centripetal force is provided by gravitational force, because necessary force in that case is the gravitational force. Another example, motion of earth around the sun is also, means it is not exactly circular, but that motion is because of the gravitational force. So in that case, centripetal force is provided by the gravitational force. Now after centripetal force, some points we have to clear here. Centripetal force, you remember one thing here. Centripetal force is due to known interaction. So we already learned there are two type of the forces, real forces and pseudo forces. The force which is arise due to known interaction is a real force, and centripetal force is because of known interaction, so it is a real force. So it exists in inertial as well as non-inertial frame of reference. This force, centripetal force, exists in inertial as well as non-inertial frame of reference. It is coming in both the frame of reference. The next one is work done by the centripetal force on a body is zero. You remember in circular motion, work done by the circular motion, work done by centripetal force is zero. That you have to note here. So these are the points you can remember. Then after this centripetal force, a centrifugal force also we have to learn. Now what is the centrifugal force? Centripetal and centrifugal, they are same, only they are opposite in directions. So force experienced by particle in circular motion along the radius, again here also along the radius, and direction is away from center of circular path is called as centrifugal force. Same definition, only here it is away from the center, and centripetal force is the towards the center, that you remember. Now after that, magnitude of centrifugal force is equal to centripetal force. Means formula, when we are talking about the formula of centrifugal force and centripetal force, magnitude wise both the formulas are same. Then examples, we discuss some examples of centrifugal force. The first example, passenger in vehicle. So passenger in vehicle along curve path. You know that when the vehicle is moving along curve path, when vehicle take the right side turn, then the passenger observe outward pull. Okay, means toward the left side. So this is because of the centrifugal force. So passenger in vehicle along curve path experiences push in outward direction. Okay, which is nothing but the centrifugal force. Now next one. A coin, next example is a coin placed slightly away from the center of rotating gramophone disc. When we place coin on the disc, and as this start rotating, then the coin slips toward the edge of the disc. This is due to centrifugal force. So why the coin slip towards the edge? Because of centrifugal force. Now another example. So dryer in washing machine uses centrifugal force. So drying cloth in a washing machine is also based on centrifugal force. Now how dryer uses centrifugal force? Okay. So generally you know that inside the washing machine clothes are revolved with very high speed and water drops are thrown away. And because of that हम बोल सकते हैं कि cloth dry हो रहे हैं. So dryer work on the centrifugal force. Next example is bulging of earth at equator and flattening at pole due to centrifugal centrifugal force. So you know that shape of the earth. Okay, earth, shape of the earth. So let I draw one diagram here. Okay. So in that I am discussing here shape of the earth. So here this is a pole. Earth rotate about polar axis and this is equator. Earth is flatten at pole and bulge at equator. This is also because of centrifugal force. Now, next example, cream separator. We can discuss many examples. Cream separator also work on centrifugal force. Centrifuge machine, it also work on centrifugal force. Many example we can give. Now next is distinguish between centripetal and centrifugal. Now let me learn both the article in one go. Centripetal force and centrifugal force. First thing about they are directed. So centripetal force directed towards the center and it is directed away from the center. This is the main distinguish. Second distinguish point is centripetal is a real force and centrifugal is pseudo force. Because centrifugal force is arising because of the acceleration of the frame of reference. Okay? So it is pseudo force. Now, next one, centripetal force exists due to interaction between two bodies. It exists and centrifugal exists due to acceleration of frame of reference. Okay? And because of that, centrifugal is pseudo force. Now, next point of distinguish is centripetal exists in both the frame of reference, inertial and non-inertial. But centrifugal exists only in non-inertial. You remember one thing here, pseudo forces are only in non-inertial frame of reference. Now next one is the formula. So here centripetal force, we are written in vector form. F bar is equal to minus m omega square r bar. So this is the formula of centripetal force in vector form, and centrifugal force in vector form is plus. Now how we get this formula? Because in 11th standard we already learned one article, radial acceleration. What is the formula of radial acceleration in vector form? Minus omega square r bar. This is centripetal acceleration or radial acceleration in vector form. So mass multiplied by that radial acceleration is the centripetal force. Centripetal force is also called as radial force. Okay? So we get this formula, minus m omega square r bar. One more thing, you can write the same formula like this way also, minus mv square by r into this unit vector r cap. When you want to write in term of v, we can write like this. So this is also a formula of centripetal force in vector form. Now that's it in the centripetal and centrifugal force. One more thing you can remember here, centripetal force is necessary force for circular motion. It is necessary for circular motion, and centrifugal is, it is a result of circular motion. It is coming after the circular motion. So it is the result of the circular motion that you remember. Now after centripetal and centrifugal force, next article is relation between linear velocity and angular velocity. Linear velocity we represent by v. Angular velocity we represent by omega, and we have to learn a relation between these two. This relation we already learned in the previous standard, we have to revise only. And this is the relation. Okay? Linear velocity is equal to radius into angular velocity. This is the relation. Now let me write in symbolic format. V is equal to r omega. So v is the linear velocity, r is the radius, and omega is angular velocity. Okay? Then in vector form, so we can write vector form of this equation, v is equal to r omega. So vector form is v bar is equal to omega bar cross r bar. This is the vector form of this equation. Listen, you remember one thing, you cannot write r bar cross omega bar. The sequence you have to follow. You already know what is the significance of this equation, what this equation indicate. V bar is equal to omega bar cross r bar means what? That we already learned in the mathematical method of 11th standard. But you remember here the vector form of this equation is omega bar cross r bar. Similar manner, we can learn relation between linear acceleration and angular acceleration. Now, what is the relation that we have to learn? Now here you can see a relation. Linear acceleration is equal to radius into angular acceleration. Radius into angular acceleration. Now we write it in symbolic format. Linear acceleration by symbol small a, radius by r, and angular acceleration by alpha. So we get this formula, a is equal to r alpha. And this is the expression, or this is a relation, we can say relation between linear and angular acceleration. Now similar manner, we can write the same equation in vector form. And the vector form of this equation is a bar is equal to alpha bar cross r bar. So this is the vector form of this equation. Now pay attention, one more thing. So this acceleration is directed. Okay, this acceleration is directed along tangent. So it is also called as tangential acceleration. This equation also called as equation of tangential acceleration. Tangential acceleration. So you can write tangential acceleration at is equal to r alpha. Okay? Or when you are writing in vector form, at bar is equal to alpha bar cross r bar is the expression for this tangential acceleration. I hope you understood these relations between linear and angular quantities. Now after this, next article we have to cover, and it is the applications of uniform circular motion. And the first application is motion of vehicle along horizontal circular track. Pay attention. So we are discussing here, if the vehicle is moving on horizontal circular track, then what are the forces acting on that vehicle? Then what is the then how we decide the speed of the vehicle on that circular track, that we have to discuss here. Now you already seen many times in ghat section, some speed limit boards are there. How they are deciding the speed limit? Sometimes you may see speed limit is written 40 km per hour and you are driving a car with 60, 70, 80 also. Then also you can safely able to negotiate that curve. Why this is so? The answer you will get in this article. Okay? Now we have to learn here vehicle along horizontal circular track. So for that, I consider here a vehicle. So this is a vehicle. Okay? So you can see this is a vehicle. And these two are the tires. Now this dot is center of gravity of the vehicle. So this is the center of gravity. Now we consider a vehicle of mass m moving on a track of radius r as shown in figure. You can see here the radius is r. Okay, it is moving on that circular track. Now pay attention, then we have to discuss the forces acting on this vehicle. The forces acting on car or forces acting on vehicle are: the first force is weight. Always on any object, the first force is weight. And you can see this force is in the downward direction. The weight you can see in a diagram, it is in downward direction. Weight is always acting in a downward direction. Second force is the normal reaction. So normal reaction exerted by surface on vehicle. So vehicle exert the force weight on the surface. At the same time, surface exert reaction force. Okay, and it is called as normal reaction. So you can see normal reaction in a diagram. Okay. So two forces here. This is weight mg and this is the normal reaction n. Then third force, force of static friction between rod and tire. You can see here the force of static friction between tire and rod. So forces acting on car. So forces acting here, weight, normal reaction and force of static friction. These are the forces acting on vehicle. Now after that, this weight, you can see in a diagram, this weight mg balances normal reaction. You can see here the weight is in downward direction and normal reaction is in upward direction. So they are balanced. So they are balancing each other. So we can write the equation here. Mg is equal to normal reaction. So we get equation number 1. So equation number 1 is mg is equal to n. Okay, mg is equal to n we get. At the same time, we already discussed necessary force is a centripetal force. If car is moving on horizontal circular track, centripetal force is required. Okay, centripetal force required provided by the force of friction. We already learned example on horizontal curve road. Okay, centripetal force provided by the force of friction. So we can write here equation. Centripetal force. Centripetal force is mv square by r. It is equal to force of friction, Fs. So we get two equation, equation 1 and equation 2. Equation 1 is mg is equal to n and equation 2 is mv square by r is equal to Fs. Now we have to do a mathematical steps only. Some mathematics we have to apply to these two equations. Now the work of the diagram is over. By diagram we have written two equations. Now the next step is we have to divide the equation 2 by equation 1. So by equation 2 divided by equation 1, you can see here. This one side is mv square by r divided by this mg. Okay. And another side is Fs divided by n. Now let's see the steps. Dividing equation 2 by 1, what we get? You can see here. mv square by r divided by mg. Now here this m and this m get cancelled, is equal to Fs by n. So force of static friction divided by normal reaction. So the next step is we can write v square by rg is equal to this Fs divided by n. Now in this formula, this small r is the radius of circular track, g is acceleration due to gravity, n is the normal reaction. They are constant. So as r, g, n are constant, so this v is maximum when Fs is maximum. So you can say that when velocity or when the speed of the vehicle on this curve path is maximum, when the friction is maximum. When the friction is maximum, that time only v is maximum. Hence we can write Hence we can write a formula, same formula we are written here. See here, the same formula I written, but I consider velocity is maximum. So V max, you can see here, it is written V max, maximum velocity square. At the same time, I written here maximum friction. Okay, this R, G and N are constant, so they as it is. In the next step, but this formula, force of static friction divided by normal reaction is the coefficient of static friction. You already learned laws of static friction in 11th standard. In that first law, the force of static friction, okay, is directly proportional to normal reaction. Hence we are written force of static friction is mu into n. Mu is the coefficient of static friction and n is the normal reaction. By that formula, we get this. Fs maximum divided by n is mu s, coefficient of static friction. That we have to substitute in equation. Hence, we can write here, we get v square by rg, a maximum value of v square, okay, divided by rg is equal to mu s. Now this rg term we can transfer to that side, means to right hand side. So we get formula of v square, a maximum velocity square, mu s into rg. We can find out velocity by using that, maximum velocity. So we get the formula for maximum velocity. So maximum velocity is given by under root mu rg is the maximum velocity formula. So maximum velocity of vehicle on the curve path is independent on mass of vehicle. Now pay attention. In Ghat section, you already seen a speed limit board, 40 km per hour, 50, 60, whatever it may be. And that speed limit is same for all vehicles. Because this maximum speed independent on the mass. You note one thing here, this maximum speed independent on mass. It is same for two-wheeler, car, truck, every vehicle. The maximum speed limit formula is same. And it is independent on the mass of vehicle. I hope you understood this article. Now after this, a second application we have to see. So before the second application, one problem is based on this article that we have to go through. Then we have to start the second application. Now pay attention. See the problem number 13 from the exercise of your textbook. Coefficient of static friction between a coin and gramophone disc is 0.5. Means coefficient of static friction is given, mu s is 0.5. Radius of the disc is 8 centimeter. Means here they given radius of the disc. Let I use small r. Initially, the center of the coin is 2 centimeter away from center of disc. Now pay attention. The distance of the coin from the center of the disc. Okay? At what minimum frequency will it start slipping from there? By what factor will the answer change if the coin is almost at the rim? And here they given one thing, g is equal to pi square. We have to take g and pi square same. Okay? Now pay attention here. Let I write the given. Coefficient of static friction 0.5. So radius of the disc we use capital R. Why capital R? Because pay attention, this is a gramophone disc. ठीक है. On that disk a coin is there. Again here it's a coin, and the distance of the coin from the disk is 2 centimeter. So this is 2 centimeter. As disk rotate, this coin also rotate like this. So I consider this 2 centimeter as a small r. Okay, 2 centimeter you can see here. And capital R is the radius of this gramophone disc. So they are in the centimeter, we converted into the meter. So we can use the formula. This V is equal to under root mu Rg. Now what we have to find out here? You can see here, at what minimum frequency will it start slipping from there? So when the coin is rotating, we have to find out frequency at which this coin starts slipping. Okay? And one more thing, by what factor will the answer change if the coin is almost at the rim? And the same coin we can place at the rim. Okay? If it is placed at the rim, then by what factor the answer change? That also we have to find out. Now here, the formula is V is equal to under root mu Rg. Now V is equal to R omega, that we know, we substitute here R omega. Then omega we can write by transferring R to that side, right hand side. So omega is equal to under root mu G by R. When we transfer this R inside the square root, we can write like this well. So mu R G by R square. Then R get cancelled. So only one R is there. So this is the omega. And omega is 2 pi into frequency. Omega is 2 pi into frequency, this formula. And we have to find out frequency. We have to find out frequency. So N1 we have to find out. We transfer 2 pi to that side. Okay, so N1 is equal to 1 upon 2 pi under root mu G by R. So that 2 pi also we can send inside the square root. So it is 4 pi square. Okay. So this is the formula which we have to use. I hope you understood how we get this formula. Now in that formula, we have to substitute G is as G as it is. G and pi square, they are same. So we can cancel G and pi square. So you can see here. Okay, mu divided by 4R in a root is the formula. Okay, here we can cancel G and pi square. Now after solving this, now let's see what we get. So it is 50 by 8. So 50 by 8 means 100 root 100 by 16. Okay, root 100 by 16. Root 100 is 10 and root 16 is 4. 10 by 4. 10 by 4 means 2.5. So we get the answer 2.5. Okay, I hope you understood. So we get the answer 2.5. You can see here 2.5 we get. So this is the frequency. Now one more thing. By what factor? Now second thing we have to find out. By what factor the answer change if the coin is at the rim? Okay. When the coin is at the rim, so the radius. So listen, radius is we have to take as a capital R. So this is the radius. Means here we are taken small r as a 2 centimeter initially, because coin is a midway between center and edge. Not midway, means in between. Now we have to take the radius 8 centimeter and we have to solve for the frequency. We get the answer. Okay. Now let's see. When the coin is at the edge of the gramophone, then radius R is 8 centimeter. Now the same formula. Okay. Under root mu G upon 4 pi square R. Same formula which we use in the previous part. Now we substitute this R as a 8. Then after solving this, you know that here this G and pi square get cancelled. Okay. 0.5 divided by 32, and this 10 raised to minus 2 shifted up, so 50 divided by 32 in a root. So we can multiply it by 2 to 50 and 2 by 2 to the 32. So we get 100 by 64. 100 by 64 is 10 by 8 is the second frequency. So we get second frequency 1.25 revolution per second. Okay? So this is the second frequency, but we have to find out by what factor the answer changes. Okay? So means N2 we have to find out in term of N1. So N2 by N1. So N2 is 1.25, N1 is 2.5. So it is equivalent to 1 by 2. So we can write here N2 is equal to 1 by 2 N1, and this is the answer. Okay? By what factor the answer changes? That we have to find out, and that factor is the 1 by 2. So I hope you understood this problem. Now after this problem, a second applications we have to start. Second application is the well of death. Well of death. Now for that we have to consider one vehicle of mass m is moving in a well of death of radius r. So I consider the well of death whose radius is r and vehicle mass is m in a horizontal circle of radius r with speed v. Okay? So you can see here well of death. In that vehicle is moving. So let I consider vehicle is at this point. So vehicle is at this point. Okay? Now we have to discuss the forces acting on vehicle, which is similar to the previous article. The first force is always weight mg. Okay, you can see the force in a diagram. So this is mg is the first force. Now the second force is normal reaction. You can see here normal reaction is the force exerted by the surface. Okay, and normal means perpendicular. So this is perpendicular to the surface. Okay, surface of well of death, that you remember. Now after that, the third force is the force of friction, force of static friction between the tire of vehicle and wall of well. So this is the third force. Okay. Now after that, this centripetal force provided by normal reaction. You can see here the direction of the centripetal force, you know that. It is toward the center. This is the center. And if you see this normal reaction is toward the center, so centripetal force is provided by this normal reaction. So I can write centripetal force mv square by r is equal to normal reaction n. This is the equation number 1. Similar manner, the second thing is to prevent the downward slipping. To prevent the downward slipping, force of static friction is equal to the weight. Pay attention. So here, so this is the force of static friction. To avoid the downward slipping of this vehicle, pay attention, these two forces must be equal, this weight and the force of static friction. So we get the second equation. Weight is equal to the force of static friction. So listen, to avoid the slipping of the vehicle, these two forces must be equal. So we get the second equation. Now, as we know that, so this force of static friction, this is very important condition, is always less than or equal to this mu s n. In this case, this force of static friction is less than or equal to this mu s into n. In the previous article, we had taken it equal, but here it is a vertical surface. So on that, we can say that force of static friction is less than or equal to this mu s n. So let me substitute the values in that. So we substitute here this fs. Okay, by equation number 2, it is mg. And after substituting this n, okay, which is equal to mv square by r by equation number 1. So we get this equation. Now we can cancel here this m and this m we can cancel. Okay. So we get g is less than equal to mu s into v square by r. Okay. By using that, we can write rg by mu s is less than equal to v square. Okay. And we can write under root rg by mu s is less than equal to v. Okay. So minimum speed of the vehicle we can write by using this minimum. Minimum speed of the vehicle is under root rg upon mu s. This is the minimum speed to complete that horizontal circular motion. If the speed is less than this, the speed if speed is less than this, then vehicle come down. So vehicle slip downward. So this is the minimum speed to move in a horizontal circle. If the speed is greater than this speed, then it's okay, no problem. So easily vehicle can complete horizontal circle. Okay. So this is the formula for minimum speed of vehicle in Vale of Death. I hope you understood this article. Now in this lecture, we have to learn that much only. Okay. Remaining chapter we have to see in next session.